It's got nothing to do with landlope, even though it's one of the things deep down that it actually makes life boring and at times tedious. I never use the word stressful, but living 25 years, 30 really, right on the border of England and Wales. Right, first things first, I'm allowed to say this, I was brought up in Wales. All this myth stuff, it's all a myth. Welsh don't like walking. I basically, you know people in the region don't like walking. And it's just sold this myth of these peoples to the visitor and the person who they want to attract in to buy their barn for a big profit. It's all rubbish. No one's actually interested in it. Exactly the same in this county. No one's actually, it's just endless bullshit. Now, it's one of the few things that slightly bores me. And when speaking with people in regions like this, but just like in my last region, I would find ways of breaking through that waste of time conversation, because it's total and utter waste of time. It's a theme park. And of course they all say down here, oh, it's lovely. It's not, it's the most lonely and unfriendly place I've ever stayed in. I get on, I'm very good at just keeping going, but here's the point. That's not the point. But these things are like, you can call them preciousnesses. Like, people don't want to hear these things, but I've done a lot of travelling. Real travellers, they love to hear the truth. The truth of these regions where you get a lot of visitors. They wouldn't allow themselves to be called tourists. You have this, oh, everybody's lovely here and there is a heritage in all of these things. No, not at all. Nobody knows what Offa's is at all, or if King Arthur existed, etc., etc. And I know what Welsh culture is. Welsh culture is a lot more alcoholism and unpleasantness than even England. Right, to the point. Landlope. Now, the only thing I really speak with people is about children, the healthy psychological environment for children, but I've known for years. I mean, I actually do. If I meet somebody I like who's got kids, who's English, and we chat for a while and I realise they're sort of free-range-ish, they've got good values, watch the film Campkin Fantastic, it's absolutely brilliant. They've got those kind of values. Because I know I've lived most of 20 years all over Europe. It's much healthier in Europe for children, much healthier. My other site, I sometimes write things about this and I want to write more. And then the environment. Our environment is all in Britain ruined. I mean, yes, this morning the findings of the butterfly survey comes out, the big one they have every year, or I think it's every year, and the numbers are 25% down, and the bosses of the butterfly world have declared an emergency. Oh, I know, I can see. This is what I love. This section. See, I wanted to have the camera at this section. Right? Now, landlope. Yeah, in my kind of everything I do is connected. I don't really do very much, but I just want to create via landlope something that's actually maybe going to genuinely assist people forward. Forward from what? Well, I've got 10 years or more work, recordings, chronicles. It comes down to one word, and this is why I needed landlope. Even getting through terrible pain or just the bleakness, it's best to term it as bleakness. It's bleakness. It takes you about 4 or 5 years to really, for your roots to regrow after tragic, hurtful bleakness. And I kind of had that a few times in the last 15 years. Never, ever over the edge, never resorting to booze or anything like that, but still, for years. Bleak. deep down. That's one thing. But then there's something that's almost just as tough. So you sort of get... I've been in a mode for 6 or 7 years of like, I'm at the best of my game. The very best I've ever been. 2020 I was the very best ever. This year's actually been the same, the last 6 months. But there's one thing. Via landloping, but it's also landloping and a lot of that understanding and kind of thinking through, why is this person like this? Not thinking judgmentally, you're trying to understand. And this region is totally sewn up by sharp-elbowed, real fierce Sybarites. Real fierce. Who've adopted the costume of the homespun kind of wicker basket person, when the truth is you need a lot of money to have bought something down here. Anyway, here's the thing. That I accept entirely. I saw that 20 years ago where I used to live. It's kind of irrelevant to me. I just think it's laughable in a way. But here's the thing. The thing that doesn't wrong foot me, or it does sometimes, just a bit. You've spent time with somebody who you thought was straight talking, bright eyes, and then it turns out they're ridiculously precious. Deep down, it was, and this happens almost always with the younger ones, I'm afraid, but because I've been in a position where I kind of almost have to, looking after a little campsite that's mainly for walkers. The English ones, you think that you're kind of just having that friendly, genuine solidarity chat with someone who's walked 30 kilometres that day, and your body language says, hey, well done you, hey, the shop up the road is a fucking rip-off, I care about you, I wish you didn't have to go there, but if you do need something, go up there, etc. And then you hear sometimes something, I really didn't like the kind of way that this person was expressing themselves. Now forget that. There is no hope. There is literally no hope until I'm working on something with a few people sort of. That sounds suspicious. No, a really good film about environmentalism has to be like a full Monty thing. But the 40-somethings, English, time and time again. I'll meet somebody and have a good 20-minute chat, a van person or something like that, somebody like that. And then there'll be some really sour, little unfriendly next time you see them. Just, I've no interest in anybody else's lack of balance, because I personally have perfect balance. But it's the preciousness. That, above all, can be exhausting a bit. And landloping allows me to lope through the preciousness. Just lope on. It's about the momentum. It's obviously about health. It's also kind of, you've got to kind of laugh at it all, which I do. Even though I'm a serious person, I cry. If you were to read out the last 2 pages of Watership Down to me, I cry. I still would. But it's like, we've ended up so stuck in this society. It's tragic. It really is tragic. I mean, it's quite simple. Not so much down here, but even with, well, no, not at all down here, or rarely down here. But back in my previous region, even the English, if you were up sort of fairly highish on Office Dyke Path, I used to literally 3 times a week walk a section by Herrick Hill, and you'd meet one person every 3 days in the winter. No, in the summer. In the winter, one person every 2 months. You could stop and talk, and you did actually have a good chat. Like, just break through the nervousness or whatever, just get down to it, let's have a good chat. People understood. Yeah, we're up here, there's honour on the hill, honour among walkers, no bad behaviour, and I did actually have some good chats, but you can't do that down here. I've only met a couple of I've met a couple of English, but notably they're from up north. The rest of them, no. It's the preciousness. So the landlope has allowed me this summer to actually just, when the preciousness comes along, just like, can I write a poem about that? It was actually quite interesting. How I had no idea that the preciousness was quite that bad. But then, even yesterday, I had a little dose of it again. Some woman who lived in a van, and we'd had a chat about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and I saw her down in the cove, and I just like almost being polite. I didn't even recognise it was her. I asked her because I wasn't that interested in her, and like she comes up with this really kind of cutting. Oh, don't! I'm so busy, doing my business, which is ripping people off, teaching them to breathe, which is what they're all into. This kind of stuff down here. They're all just about finding ways to monetize things like that, when I'm sorry, nothing like that should ever be charged for. And it's all about avoiding being a cleaning lady. I'm a cleaning lady, quite happily. I do the dirtiest job in the world ever. I'm more than happy to do so. Only for 3 or 4 months. Anyway, so yes, the landlope it's the antidote for me. I know this won't be the majority of people. I didn't know it was like this. The majority of people in regions like this, you just stay at this utter small talk, oh, isn't it so lovely level. Sorry, that bores me to tears. I want to know the truth of life. Not always. Most of the time when I'm walking, I don't talk. If I were to go walking with somebody, I'd not talk to them most of the time. But the landlope has been, for me, the toughest thing really has been to get through, or to just persist through this endless preciousness. But I know you actually have to be really careful, because if you just go a little bit over their setting, that can very quickly result in you've harassed and aggressed and offended, and what's the correct legal term? You have said something that's caused me hurt, or something like that. You can be arrested for that in Britain, and half of them are dying to get you arrested for it. I knew this long ago, but yeah, so the landlope gets through this dire preciousness